Now, the prophet Joel in his classic statement in Joel 2:20. When I first read it, this is what I read. Be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Lord your God, for he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain, and the latter rain in the first month. After taking some time to go through and crack it open a little differently, I looked and realized that the phrase "be glad then" is H1523 in the Strong's Concordance, which means properly to spin around under the influence of any violent emotion, usually as in rejoicing or maybe as cringing. Be glad, joy, be joy, joyful, rejoice. Think about a washing machine, something mixing concrete. Ye children, H1121, outline of biblical usage, usually as a son, grandson, child, member of a group, son, male, grandchild, son, or children, male and female youth. And it can also mean young men or young animals. It can also represent sons as a characterization of sons of injustice or for unrighteous, or sons of God for angels, people of a nation, of lifeless things, i.e. sparks, stars, arrows, or members of a guild, order, or class. Zion, H6726. Zion, it means parched place. Another name for Jerusalem, especially in the prophetic books. So just reading through the first part, be glad then, ye children of Zion, we understand that when we take a look behind and understand the nature of how these people spoke and the emphasis, the detail in their words, we understand that this could almost just be like a conversation, or if they were sitting in a news report and they were giving the report of, hey, look, we've checked the statistics, we verified this thing is legitimate and true. This is what's coming. And Prophet Joel is saying, if you want something that's going to excite you and propel you in the right direction, you, children of the universe, as the life current of anything and all things created, and that lives within you, who are you've held in high honor the legacy of coming from a place that was dry and elevated. But be glad that the one who has endured and overcome just about everything, your supreme being has appointed and entrusted with a flurry of accurate and intentional showers, a taught and blameless legacy to come into where you were, because I know life has felt as if you were bent over bottoms up, as if it had claimed to teach you and spread out in an accurately intended shower. Now this new dispensation will properly and accurately cover your life in a similar fashion as your previous similar situation. In the spring, the fresh life, the cattle birthing season, and freedom from the cold seasons to the warmer, and first position in respect to the lineage of your ancestors, promptly and at the best quality and degree in this new cycle. Starting this in-depth study of this passage of Joel chapter 2, and we're going to go through for a few verses, I hear it in a full passion. When you compare it to a news outlook, the Jews had been experiencing oppression. The one as God hadn't seemed to be delivering. Now it's changed where Jehovah, the supreme being of these people, the leader or boss, has begun doing the right job with accuracy. This has kickstarted a change in the land. At the time frame that this happened, these people were essentially being sodomized. Now they have their supreme being, who isn't just talking about being supreme, is talking about the complete totality of a person reaching enlightenment and being on that path, and using that to orchestrate a wise and just balanced rule. Now this individual with specific intentions, transforming from a perverted abuse to a loving and an intimate aim, and a loving and intimate experience as well. One was only for pleasure or pleasing for just one individual. That was the first. But now the latter places not just the receiver as the focus, but it's about the balance, because they understand how everything properly connects. And bringing life, this is the same way I could go from previous situations where I felt like I sat for a long time, where nobody wanted to hire me. I was worried about so many things, to getting hired for full-time jobs and overcoming situations to establish that path of consistency and a promise to not be tossed away. Going from no love to love with somebody who's beautiful, that I can cherish and trust forever, who speaks to the God within me, to the king, the emperor, the ruler, and desires to build something greater. It's life, and I'm thankful for this. By being blessed today and help someone else grow, being thankful that God knows to need a solution for us and ours on the proper levels, kickstarting what it is that we've been needing. There's a lot of things, and this is just a side little simple note before we end. There's a lot of ways that what the children of Israel were experiencing at this time. This was right before the building of Solomon's temple. The things that the children of Israel was experiencing, and everything was being formed together, and it was just lining up miraculously and properly to happen in the right fashion. God promised change. Resetting and reorganization of government. Putting the proper example, because as we continue reading the passage, we see where it extends to fathers and sons and mothers and daughters, restoration of the family dynamic. We understand that it dealt with community, and it trickled with that change through God to everywhere else. Consider this for yourself. At the time frame that this was being practiced, a belief system of the Jews were that there was the individual who was responsible for their God self. Arm, leg, arm, head. Yes. Okay? One side was good and one side was evil. You hear in Islam there's an angel on your shoulder. You see it in the cartoons all the time, where a person, It's just the deliberation between two sides of what a person desires. We understand that there is much more to that now. It's more intricate with evaluating and breaking these things down. But what we also do need to also understand is that when choosing the path of good, that was considered the path of God. When going the path of another path where you could be considered an obstacle or creating those for others, that was the path of evil. Sometimes you have to have the balance of both worlds, not to intentionally create things, but to create and cause a harmonizing, an evolution. If destruction was needed, how does it craft in being created into a new house, into a new structure? If it couldn't be repaired, what did we do with it? Or did it just be wiped out to have nothing there? With proper individuals who understand how life and these things work, they realize that at one time we were stuck in this place too. We maybe didn't have these liberties. We maybe didn't have all the money. We maybe didn't have all the wealth. We maybe didn't have all the proceeds and everything that we needed. But through the grace and glory of God, this is what we do have. And this is how we will live. And God blesses that. This has been the first part of Joel chapter 3. This has been the first part of Joel chapter 2. Sorry about that. And we'll continue with the series. But once again, think about it for yourself. And what is it that has been needed in your life for you to hear? If you want something that's going to excite you and propel you in the right direction, you children of the universe, as the life current of any and all things created and lives within you, You held in high honor the legacy of coming from a dry, elevated place. But be glad that the one who has endured and overcome just about everything, your God has appointed and entrusted you with a flurry of accurate and intentional showers, a taut and blameless legacy to come into where you were. I know life had felt like you were bent over bottoms up, as if it was claimed to teach you and spread out in an accurately intended shower. Now this new dispensation will properly and accurately cover your life in a similar fashion as your previous situation. In the spring, the fresh life, the cattle birthing season, freedom from the cold to warmer, and first position in respect to the lineage of your ancestors, promptly and at the best quality and degree in this new cycle. Blessings are coming, and guess what? The blessings are here.